Hey guys, what's up? This is Nogymneeded back to you for another radio broadcast. So today's topic is why some people can start working out and never stop, whereas other people, they have a lot of trouble with it. What's the main difference? I'm joined today with Andrew. As you can tell, he's taking a pee. It's a pretty healthy sounding pee, if I do say so myself. We're going to get into some of the supplements Andrew takes and some other supplements that are bogus. We're going to talk about some stories lately that we've had about working out and things like that and experiences. And yeah, get into some of the stuff I've been posting lately on my channel. Alright, well, to start the topic off, we're going to ask the question, why is it that some people start working out and they just never stop? They catch a groove and they keep doing it, and it's just no problem for them. But other people struggle. Take for instance my wife. When she works out, and she works out regularly, she just gets progressively tired and more sore until at the end of her workout she's really tired and she's really sore. But she never gets in the zone, and then that leads to not wanting to exercise next time it comes around. You know those people?
Oh yeah, definitely. Some people, the lack of progress in conjunction with the pain is enough to keep them from continuing or having a consistent schedule with their workout on their exercise routine.
Yeah, but like, why do you think that some people hit the weights and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, this feels great, or like they're just like, oh, I'm just gonna give it my all at least once and see what happens, and then they do, and they get the endorphins or something, and they just get in the zone, and they always remember that feeling. But some people never feel those endorphins or whatever, or something like that. Some people don't get in the zone. Why do you think that is? Besides what you just mentioned, or rather, why do you think some people get in the zone, or do you think some people get endorphin release easier, or what?
I don't think it comes easier with some people, although it may. I think that the people who get frustrated quicker and easier, I think they release endorphins just as easy. I think they just let other things get in the way of allowing exercise to be their form of serotonin release and dopamine and those endorphins and whatnot. They would prefer to go eat some fast food, or maybe it's drinking or smoking or things like that. So they're relapsing into that instead of exercising consistently.
Oh, that makes sense. The pain that you feel when you first start exercising, they might realize that there's an endorphin rush if they exercise hard enough, but the initial pain that they feel, they think it's not worth it just to get that endorphin rush every time, when they can go eat a bowl of chocolate ice cream or something and get a huge rush of serotonin.
No, definitely.
I think that makes sense. I saw a study in this old bodybuilding magazine, and it said that 80 to 85% of children whose parents love to exercise and love to go to the gym also love to go to the gym, and vice versa. The ones who hated it, their children also hated it. But I've asked people, and it was like 50-50 from who I've asked about that. What was I thinking here? Yeah, so for me, I think motivation is a key player. Like, if you're someone who gets bullied or something, you might have more motivation to exercise, and you don't care about the pain. And then eventually you just catch your groove, and you're like, oh, or you start to see gains or something, and you're like, oh, this is awesome. And then, or someone compliments you, like, hey, have you been working out? And you're like, oh, snap, they're noticing. And then you keep going from there. For me, when I graduated high school, I was looking for a job, and I had a bunch of free time. One of my buddies, who I used to hang out with as a kid, he told me, hey, remember that Dragon Ball show I watched on TV, or we watched on TV? dude, I never saw all the episodes, and I don't think you have either, but like the story plot's a lot cooler than I thought. You should watch it. And then the internet was just coming around in those days, and I looked it up and I could watch it for free. So in my free time, I would watch the episodes, and I watched like 5 episodes in a row, and I had so much energy, and I'm like, I can't even watch another episode. I'm getting too pumped up from these guys. They're always training and letting off all this energy and stuff, and I thought it was cool. So I told myself, alright, I'm going to do 30 crunches and 30 push-ups in between every episode that I watch. And that's how I started, and I never stopped. And I saw gains really quickly. And then I thought that I should be getting more ripped for how much work I was putting in. And then I found out that, you know, you see those sayings that say workout is like, training is like 5%, diet's like 95% or whatever, stuff like that. I looked at what I was eating, and it was like a bag of potato chips before bed, 2 frozen pizzas a day, and all this crazy junk. And when I changed up my eating, I instantly made more gains. And then I still thought I should be getting more ripped for the effort I was putting in. And then I realized you have to eat the right foods at the right time, combined with hard exercise. And then I saw a ton of gains. I was like shocking people. And I was so stoked at that point. I had everything to gain. I remember a long time ago I knew a tattoo artist, and he was going to give me free tattoos, but I thought about it, and I'm like, no man, eventually one day I want to have muscles, and I don't want to get tattoos while I'm skinny and then get muscles and mess them all up. And I didn't know when that day was going to come, but just watching Dragon Ball happened to be the catalyst for me to get those muscles. And then I would listen to music and stuff, and then I would have the endorphins, and I never stopped. I've been loving exercise ever since. But for some people, it doesn't work like that. Like, you got Andrew's roommate, our mutual friend Dylan. He started exercising, and he was feeling all the benefits. He was getting the endorphins, and he was having a pre-workout, and it was working for him. And he was on such a roll. And then he just total backslide. Went back into day drinking, and being a lazy bum, and eating unhealthy and stuff. It's hard to believe that someone could feel all the benefits and then go back to that, but some people do.
Yes. In that particular case, he's tried diet plans such as keto, among others, and the diet routines were his way of attempting to get back into a healthier situation for himself. And you know, at this time he's not exercising, and diet plans are another way people try to get their body healthy, which is totally fine and commendable, but it needs to be coupled with exercising. You can't get around it. And some people they frustrate themselves over one, and some people are good at one over the other, but you need to be good at both. And it's a process, and you need to enjoy the process, because you know it's not going to happen all overnight. You can't just completely do a 180 with your whole life overnight. But baby steps are important, because if you can start with, you know, just push-ups and sit-ups or something, or maybe just a run, if that's what you can do at the time, then that's better than what you were doing before, which was nothing. So
yeah, it's like those giant cruise liners in the ocean. Have you ever seen them make a 90-degree turn? They can't. They have to make that 90-degree turn very gradually, or they'll tip, you know? It's the same with diet and lifestyle. Do that Billy impersonation. Gotta get back on the keto, bro.
Yeah, we gotta get back on the keto, dude.
That's Dylan's been hanging out with this other guy who's not very healthy as well, and they're not really helping each other. They think keto is the magic pill, but I feel keto should only be used by bodybuilders, because bodybuilders already know exactly how things affect their body, and they're using keto in a very specific way to do very specific things. Fat people who don't know how to eat or do anything right, really, or have no exercise routine, thinking keto is going to cure all their problems, have another thing coming. And that leads into the next topic, which is a client that I'm training. I work at Costco. He also works at Costco, and I met him there. And we got discussing things, and I've been training him. And he came over to my house the other day, and I got to see firsthand how he's been exercising and it was not what I was expecting. We'll get into that in 1 second here. And we're back. So, I'm training this guy, Chris. Originally, when I first met him, he was doing a diet called the snake diet. And it's just comes from some guy on YouTube. He's not a professional, not a doctor, nothing. And he has a Facebook group. That's all. And this dude, he has a keto-like diet, but it's way more extreme. Dude, oh my goodness. That guy is so crazy. If you go and watch his videos, all he does is cuss. Completely cussing you out the entire time. He calls his clients like the worst stuff ever. And he's yelling the entire video. It's hard to make out even what the guy's trying to talk about and what his point is. And he says fat people have everything they need to live, so they don't need food, so you should starve yourself. And you basically just starve yourself as long as you can, and when you get hungry you eat pork. And just keep going. Keep going. He says it melts away brain tumors and stuff. We know tumors don't melt anyway, so he doesn't know what he's talking about. He has no good terminology. And anyways, it's just flat out dangerous. And some people have gotten hurt doing his diet, and they tried to post it on his Facebook group, and he just deletes it and moderates it, and he just calls them haters. And so that's why it looks like he has a 100% success rate, because he just deletes anyone who's not talking good on his Facebook group. And so he was all into that, really hardcore. And I'm like, look, your problem is you've been eating really unhealthy. By starving yourself, even if you get skinny, what are you going to do then? You don't know any healthy eating habits. You never learned them. All you did was starve yourself to get skinny. And an end doesn't justify the means, especially when it comes to your body and your health. If he succeeded in that, and he went from being fat to being skinny by starving himself and just eating pork, there's going to be all sorts of problems. His metabolism is going to get messed up. His hormones are going to get messed up. Your body doesn't produce vitamin C naturally. But this guy says, well, when you're fat, you have everything you need to live, so. But no, you need vitamin C, and a few other things are essential. So anyways, he's like, yeah, I want to do your training method, and I'm telling him about some of my stuff. And then, like, as I was telling him in Costco, people were coming up and, like, gathering around listening to me, giving this advice. And some people were saying, yeah, listen to what he's saying. He's totally right. That's the only way that worked. I did all these diets and stuff. And he just was hearing it, but he wasn't taking it in. He was still stuck on this snake diet. And it's funny, the guy actually sells something called like snake oil or whatever. And everyone knows what a snake oil salesman is. It's fake. So anyways, he basically, we got in an argument, and I was like, whatever, I don't honestly want to train someone who's going to be stuck on other people's ideologies and stuff and not want to do mine wholeheartedly and all that. So I'm like, you go ahead and do what you want to do, what makes you happy. If that guy's diet works for you, great. And if it doesn't, or you get hurt or something and you want to come try mine, then you can try mine. And eventually, he kept binge eating, and he got worse and worse. And that diet made him more and more sick, so to speak. And eventually, he came to me and apologized and said my way was right, and he was just not listening. It was going in one ear and out the other, but now he thought about it and he wants to do it. So he's been doing it really, really good. I told him he needs to work out 5 days a week, and he has like a hunchback, so he needed to, I gave him these stretches to help with that. He has to do those every day. And he's been telling me that he's been doing his workouts really, really hard and stuff, but when he came over to my house and I worked him out in the backyard, had him chopping wood and stuff, and I was checking out his form on his different exercises, he said he had never worked out that hard since he started working out. And I'm like, that wasn't even that hard of a workout, first of all. And then I'm like, I thought you were going balls to the wall, all these workouts. He's like, I thought I was. And I'm like, no. And so it was funny. He's scared of heights. I had him climbing up a ladder. He only got 2 steps up the ladder, and he was shaking. And then I was just like making him carry this kettlebell everywhere. I'm like, this is your friend. I was just screwing with him, but it was a great fun time. My backyard looks like a forest, and him and his fiance were there. His fiance went higher up the ladder than him, and she's like, I'm in sandals, or I'm in slippers. You need to be a man. It was so fun. And he got to face a lot of his fears, and he definitely felt stronger after that workout, and he was super sore. So I hope that helped him. We're going to do one workout together every month so I can keep his fire going and all that. But anyways, my point is, be careful of those crazy diets, and don't get so stuck on it. And listen to logic and reason, especially when you're doing eating habits. But yeah, it was funny because he also told me that he hasn't actually done one 5 day a week workout since I started working with him. And this whole time I thought he was doing 5 days a week. It turns out he's only done 3 and 4 days. He's like, my goal is to make it 5 days in 1 week. And this whole time I thought he was working out 5 days every week. So you gotta have really good communication with your clients and stuff. Because they could be saying one thing that sounds all good, and you could be interpreting it as you think it is, but it really isn't. It's something else. So meet up with your clients and make really sure what they're doing is what you think they're doing. Okay, but yeah, it was cool. Now on to bogus supplements. Things like Tribulus testis or whatever. People think it raises your testosterone. It definitely doesn't. They had one study in rats, and that was even kind of sketchy. And then all the human studies have showed negatives. But it does increase your libido, it seems. Forskolin, no human studies, doesn't work. Raspberry ketones. First of all, they're not from raspberries. There is ketones in raspberries, but it would take way too many raspberries and way too much money to extract it from raspberries. So it's all artificial junk made in a laboratory. And they call it raspberry ketones, so you think it's coming from raspberries, but that's total false advertisement. Watch out for those. Creatine. Do you know where creatine comes from?
Me? No.
Well, it's in like meat and turkey and stuff naturally, but you can't eat enough of it to get the benefits. So if you go to Walmart and buy a thing of creatine, guess where that's coming from?
Not sure.
Chinese hair salons. They sweep up the hair on the ground, sell all that hair to American companies, and the American companies use that hair and extract the amino acids and the creatine out of it in a laboratory. And you're literally eating Chinese people's hair.
Sounds good.
Right?
Yeah.
All about the gains, y'all. Who cares?
Yeah.
So that's pretty gnarly. Anyways, but the real supplements, the ones that work and the ones that don't, we're getting into that right now. So what supplements have you tried recently for a pre-workout that you felt actually worked?
The L-tyrosine is the one I noticed the most difference.
What was the milligrams?
I believe it's 750.
Yeah, 750 milligrams. That's a lot more than that's usually in pre-workouts.
Yes, and L-tyrosine is just it helps your brain. It's nothing. It doesn't do anything to your testosterone, but it's brain function, brain fuel, helps those chemicals release quicker at a more rapid rate.
We call it the Kaiokin releaser.
Yeah. So, yeah, and it's in pre-workouts, and the same way caffeine would stimulate the brain. I was just teaching that to my little brother the other day. Most people don't think that. They think it's physical, but it's actually in your brain, which is, the source of where your physical activity takes place anyway.
True.
I do take maca, ginger, and ashwagandha before my workouts as well to attempt to boost testosterone levels.
All of those have studies that have shown they're beneficial for humans. So, what about, which one, do you feel anything with those, or just do you feel your general well-being increasing, or anything specific?
Yes, it one of those things where it was felt dramatically for about the first couple weeks, and then it's kind of turned into a thing where it feels it just feels like a daily routine now. I've gotten a little immune to it, I would say.
You've absorbed Super Saiyan God into your base form.
Yeah, basically. So I believe it's still doing its job and working. I have improved in the weights. The weights have increased, so I know something's working. So
You get sick or anything?
no, I almost never get sick.
Didn't you say Carlos, your brother, got sick the other day and you gave him some ginger or something?
Oh yes. Yeah, my little brother was pretty sick one day. He thought he was going to throw up or something. His stomach hurt real bad and his head hurt. And I just gave him some ginger and some vitamin C, and he actually ended up throwing up.
Was sushi ginger or ginger root?
Ginger root extract.
Nice.
So, yeah, if your body's not used to that and you take it, it's going to be a big difference for him. I'm pretty sure it was impactful for his body that absorbs Oreos and cereal on the daily, and just like nothing really good most of the time. Uh, if your body gets used to taking something in good, it's not a bad thing. It's just you're at a point where your body needs to be. Your body needs to be used to taking in good stuff and enjoy that good stuff on the regular, not something it is craving, but is only getting once a month or once a week. So
Yeah, no, I always think about. I try to try different things, and I just wait until I hear something good about something, and then if it's good enough, I'll try it. And I feel like our DNA stores information, and our cells react to the different things we eat. So I feel like if there's something I've never had and it's something awesome and potent, and I have it, it like writes itself on my DNA or something. I remember one time, pine trees. Sometimes they put this pollen out, this yellow pollen, and it gets all over people's cars and stuff. And I don't know if you know this, but there's something called pine nuts. Pine cones actually have these nuts in them, and they're super. You can find them at Costco. Super expensive, dude. So expensive. But there's something called pine pollen, and I found out it's in this. It's a complete amino acid. It's got all this stuff in it, and it's just a powder. And one day I went around to all these pine trees, and I was shaking the powder out of it into a bowl, and then I stuck all of that in a protein shake, and I drank it. And I swear I felt like I got a thunder shock down my spine. I got all lightheaded, and I thought I poisoned myself. I thought I got the wrong thing or something. But then, I survived, and I felt fine, and my muscles were all healed up from my workout and stuff. And I'm like, dude, maybe that was just such an awesome, potent, powerful new thing. It just zapped my DNA when I drank it. I still don't know, but pine pollen is some crazy stuff, and it's an essential. It's got all the essential amino acids in it. Yeah. So pre-workout for me, I just always try different pre-workouts that have high quality stuff in them. Most of them are absolute garbage. L-tyrosine has been good. What else have I been having pre-workout?
you take some other nootropics.
Yeah,
Right.
I tried, what was it, pyrophenol or something like that. Yeah, that helps my workouts for sure. I got something else called um, modafinil, which is like basically turns into Adderall once you eat it. I've only had like 2 of those, and I didn't feel anything really, so I'm not gonna keep taking that. I don't know if it's healthy. What else? I tried Finabut, didn't feel anything, but I also don't think I'm getting the right dosage. I've been taking kratom for like 3 years, almost every single day. I take that usually before workouts, or no, take that like intra workout and post workout. It definitely works. Kratom is not bunk. Kratom is gnarly. Love that stuff. And I heard it has 20 times more antioxidants than green tea, but I can't prove that. I think people are getting alkaloids and antioxidants mixed up. I'm not sure. What about post workout?
Post workout, protein shake.
Yeah.
Obviously, some sometimes I'll take Gotu Cola or Kava Kava
Kava Kava is really good.
to kind of relax the body a little bit more. Sometimes you feel pain, or maybe like your neck hurts, or just certain aches, and you have like knots will build up, or joints will be in pain, and all that sort of stuff. Which soreness is a good thing. It's a good thing to feel. Of course, you've accomplished something when you feel that, for sure. But it's a healthier way to cope with the pain and the aches, to take supplements like that.
Yeah, you don't need ibuprofen. That's no good.
Instead of a ton of ibuprofen, or maybe you desire to get like super high or super drunk because of your pain.
Right.
So you don't want to do that. So there's supplements for everything. So you want to healthily, relieve that pain.
Oh, one of the craziest pre-workouts. Whenever I smoke cannabis before I work out, once I make peace with the headspace, the head change, I can do the longest sets. I can just keep going, and I feel like I'm never out of breath, which is really crazy. Like, because I know my regular workouts, and then I smoke cannabis, and then I could work out for a very, very, very long time. I don't do it regularly or anything because I don't like the way it makes my head feel or whatever. I just don't feel like in the zone or whatever. I'm more like meditative and I start thinking about things I need to work on mentally and spiritually and stuff. But I can have a savage workout when I take it. Alright guys, hang on a sec, we'll be right back. Hey guys, we are back, and post workout for me, I'm always taking turmeric every day, every morning, every afternoon, every night, with emergency 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C, zinc, magnesium, potassium. You need those. You should be taking a multivitamin with those in it, or just taking them individually. I'm not going to get into what's the best magnesium to take and all that stuff right now. And I'm going to do a separate video on turmeric eventually, just because it's so good. You want turmeric. Turmeric is also fat soluble. You need it with a fat source, and you need it with black pepper extract, because it's not bioavailable otherwise. Andrew has a thing of Om mushroom powder on his sink. I also have the same brand at my house. Mushrooms are very healthy. Just to list a few benefits, they gave reishi mushrooms an extract to animals in captivity and in the wild, and both kinds of animals showed a 20% increase in their lifespan. That's reishi mushroom. And then lion's mane mushroom actually is proven to cause neurogenesis. They used to think that's not possible, but now not only do they know it's possible, lion's mane will actually help produce new brain cells. Not only that, it also helps with nerve health. So lion's mane specifically, and cordyceps. Like, I knew this old man who also worked at Costco for a while, and his hand was paralyzed, and he took cordyceps and lion's mane and got the feeling back in his hand when the doctor said it was probably not going to ever happen. So check those out. Reishi, lion's mane, and cordyceps. And watch the video on YouTube. It's like a 2 or 3 minute video on the cordyceps mushroom. Yeah, it'll blow your mind. It takes over the body of an animal or an insect, and then it just bursts out of its head and grows mushrooms, all different shapes and sizes. And they're super rare in the wild, very expensive, but you can get the laboratory grown ones from Sprouts. Also, chaga mushroom. When you get a beer or something, it says like 6% alcohol by volume, 8% alcohol by volume. Chaga mushrooms have more antioxidants by volume than any other food on the planet, and they themselves are also they do very crazy things in nature. You gotta look these up. So mushrooms and turmeric are awesome post-workout things, and just for your general health and well-being, especially if you got someone who's older and they're trying to prevent dementia or Alzheimer's and whatnot. What else post-workout? Oh, hemp powder is super good. It's got like 14 grams of protein per serving. Got tons of magnesium in it. Maybe I think some selenium as well. And it's got almost no fat in it. And then you can get hemp hearts, which are pure like dietary fat and vitamins and stuff, and not that much protein. Hemp has got it all covered. I haven't tried CBD oil yet. I want to. Haven't got around to that. But so kava, gotu kola, kratom, very good for relaxation, and L-tyrosine for the energy. A small dose of kratom for energy. All those things work wonders. Watch out for the raspberry ketones and the forskolin and the tribulus. They don't work at all, except for maybe a minor boost in libido. And then what was it? I don't know, I was going to mention something else, but we'll come back to that if we think of anything. Lately I've been uploading what ifs on YouTube, Dragon Ball what ifs. Pretty cool. They're actually my most popular videos besides the dog eating the cat. Have you seen any of them, Andrew?
I haven't seen any Dragon Ball what ifs. I haven't seen the last three I think that you made.
I've been putting them out like every other day.
Yeah, I've seen most of those, but not all of them. Definitely saw the cat video. I think a lot of people saw that video.
Yeah, it's got like 10K views. Definitely my most popular video.
Yes, people are attracted to things that shock you, things that are very emotionally disturbing. So,
And that's what all the sellers and people do, look for things that are going to give you an emotional response.
if there's any animes or any shows or cartoons in general that
Hang on,
inspire,
we'll be right back. Taking another pee already. Going right through you. Alright, so he was talking about animes. Any of you out there know any good, inspiring animes? What are you saying?
Oh yes, I recommend suggesting any what ifs. You know, I'm always thinking of what ifs too, but I don't have a YouTube channel where I can share my thoughts with the world like Jordan with Nogymneeded here can. I recommend suggesting other shows um, beyond Dragon Ball. Of course, Dragon Ball is kind of like a foundation of a lot of animes and inspire a lot of people in different ways. But there's other shows that are really good. I'm getting through Naruto right now. I've watched several other ones, and there's many of them that have inspired me to keep training and keep staying healthy. So Dragon Ball ain't the only one that can inspire you to train and be a stronger person.
Yeah. Naruto's very, very inspiring if you watch that one. I like Toriko too. Not quite as inspiring, just cool. Oh, One Piece, of course. One Piece is really inspiring. Andrew's never seen One Piece. Most people these days, they can't get the courage up to try to watch all 850 episodes or whatever is out now. Let's see. Oh, yes. So, the point is, if you want to work out and you want to keep going, just look for motivation. When you find that motivation, then not only can you continually work out and get the benefits from it, but you can basically do anything you want. So motivation, inspiration is the key. Find something you really like and let it inspire you. Don't be afraid to let it inspire you. Oh, I heard Broku got depression, it seems. He posted something on his channel the other day. Hasn't been uploading videos. He's been going to the doctor and he got medication for his depression. I wanted to hit on that. Why do you think so many people are becoming depressed in this day and age? Even though Broku works out just as much as us, and he even was able to re-pursue his dream as becoming a professional football player recently, and he got on a good schedule and stuff. And his what ifs are like really good. He has a fresh brain and stuff. I mean, so what do you think's given like regular people and people who inspire other people, like in particular, like why are they getting depression? You would think they are the ones inspiring others, so why are they getting hit with this so hard, do you think?
I think that there's something missing in their life that's taken away a lot of satisfaction and fulfillment in their life. It could be like most things check out to make him have a happy life, except maybe he's got a really bad relationship with his mom or his dad, or like a
he has linebacker status. He's got like a
yeah, he's a lineman. He's a big guy. He could like have problems with his relationship. It could be just that, and of course he's not going to openly tell all of his YouTube.
Yeah, but would that be enough to go on medication?
In my opinion, nothing's enough to get you on medication, but that's the problem nowadays, is that these doctors, you can have the littlest thing and they'll want to put you on this pill, this antidepressant. You can have my ex-girlfriend, she had anxiety, social anxiety, and they gave her antidepressants.
Oh, that's gonna screw her up.
She could have drank some tea and maybe had a little bit of cannabis and she would have been totally fine, but or much other things on top of that, and she would get depressed and she wouldn't eat. And I had to tell her, eating is the main and natural way you can get serotonin release in your brain, and she didn't even know that. So it was so sad to see her struggle and want to go back to her doctor to get these pills when I didn't think she needed them in the first place.
Yeah, that's a good point. The people generally lack knowledge in health and nutrition. Like, I remember when I was in middle school, nobody knew anything about health and nutrition. They had the food pyramid, and that was like, that's what the professionals knew, the food pyramid. That's what they were teaching the kids, the food pyramid. That did nothing. And they didn't teach us anything about how to read labels and stuff, like on the back of a can of soup. I didn't know what any of that meant. It took me a long time. I had to learn that myself. Even my dad, he didn't know what that meant. My mom didn't know what most of that meant. So nutritional education has come a long way. It's made quantum leaps in the last few years alone, in the last decade. It's come very far. But the general person still doesn't know much about health and nutrition, and so they trust their doctors. But their doctors have only memorized, I clean a hospital janitorially, and I see the doctor's books and I read some of them, just looking through them, and all they are is talking about drugs, not what's in the drugs, but when to prescribe drugs, and to what people, and to what symptoms to look for to prescribe those drugs. All the doctors do is memorize that. They don't, and they know this, but they don't understand that your whole body works together like a symphony. And if you have a horn that's out of tune, it's going to mess it up when the violin is trying to harmonize with the horn. Then when the violin is messed up and the horn's out of tune, it's going to mess up the conductor. And when the conductor gets off his pace, the entire thing gets messed up. You can't take one part of the equation out of this, and you can't just relieve the symptoms from one part and think it's going to be all over. That might work a little bit with the common cold or something, but with these bigger things, it's way different. And let's say you start taking an antidepressant, and then let's say that antidepressant is mixing with your mental chemistry, and you're starting to have these thoughts, maybe these suicidal thoughts. If you don't know that that medication is affecting the way you're thinking, all of a sudden, those thoughts that aren't yours originally, those thoughts that are a direct result of the taking the medication, you start thinking that those are your thoughts, and you start clinging to those thoughts and giving them life. But if you got off that medication, you wouldn't be having those thoughts. That's not who you are. But if you don't have the knowledge of what those do to you, then you're going to start attaching those, you're going to start giving power to those thoughts. So basically you change. The longer you take those, the more you change. And the more power you give to those thoughts that those things are inspiring, the medications, then the more you're going to change, and you're not going to know you're changing. People around you might know, and they're going to ask you what changed, and you're not going to know. You think, I'm just being myself. And you might even say that the antidepressants are helping, but they're not. They're messing you up big time. And if you've been on antidepressants for a whole year, I'm telling you right now, you are not the same person. Even if you think you are, most of the thoughts you're thinking now have been completely changed around from how you would have naturally developed over that year if you had fought your problems on your own. But you can also take herbs. Herbs are way more powerful than you realize. Get some CBD, try some kratom, make your dose small at first and work your way up until you find the perfect dose. Try Finibut. These things are powerful herbs and free-form amino acids that can change your thinking, but in a much healthier, in a much safer way. Kratom has killed no people, ever. Neither has cannabis. Imagine if there was a drug company who invented some kind of antidepressant or something, and it never resulted in a fatality. That's never happened because every drug kills thousands of people every single year. Even ibuprofen. Peanuts kill hundreds of people every year. They would be so happy. And if you're looking for that, well then you have it in the form of CBD, kratom, Finibut, or cannabis. And even
just to name a few.
Yeah, and anyone who takes cannabis, they're going to tell you that, yeah, it changes your thoughts from when you're sober to when you're on it. Kratom, it doesn't change your thoughts. That's why so many people are turning to it. It gives you mental focus, gives you the pain relief, anti-anxiety, but you keep your original state of mind. So that's why I like it. It's awesome. But yeah, start taking herbs and stuff. Don't get on the antidepressants. Not only that, I got a couple good stories about doctor stories and stuff. Alright, I'll tell those and then we'll finish it. Alright guys, check out this story. This is a true story. You can ask my mom if you don't believe me. I was working out as I always do, and back in the day I was trying to bulk up and stuff like that. I was really into it, and I was getting good results and all that. And then I got this pain in my tricep, and it was just being really annoying, and I was trying to work out with it for 2 weeks or so, and it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And eventually it got to the point where I knew something wasn't right, because I would flex my tricep and I'd touch it, and it just felt mushy. It wasn't, the shape was there, but it was mushy. It wasn't really rock hard like it normally is. So my mom took me to this doctor, and it was like a sports doctor and all that stuff, and she was pretty proud of him. Like, she said he had a good reputation, and he was all for it. The dude looked like Chicken Little. But he was super cool, and supposedly they've looked at the Chargers and stuff before, the San Diego Chargers, and this guy was like, alright, I can see the lump you're talking about there, and I can see that it's mushy and it shouldn't be. He's like, it might actually be really bad. If you cut, and like, you know when you roll up the blinds, they roll up in a circle? Well, if you cut a tendon, or like your Achilles heel, if it got cut, it would roll up like a blind. And he was speculating that could have happened to one of the heads on my tricep, and it looked like that because there was like this weird big lump above one of the heads, and one of the heads looked like it was kind of gone. And so he was like, yeah, that might be it. I'm gonna have to recommend you to a more advanced doctor. And so I'm like, okay, this freaking sucks. And I couldn't work out for a long time. And then my mom's like, oh, he also has high blood pressure. Can you give him blood pressure medication? And I'm like, no, Mom, just be quiet. Stop that right now. And then the guy's like, oh, yeah, your blood pressure's a little high. That could actually be in the normal range still, but we're not sure. And I'm like, no, you know, since I haven't been working out recently, I've been eating like the frozen pizzas and stuff, going back to those. I just had a lot of them back in the day, and so I would eat them when I was bored. I've been eating chips, a lot of high sodium. High sodium equals high blood pressure. And so, plus I was taking caffeine and pre-workouts and stuff when I was, and energy drinks on my off days. So I knew why my blood pressure was a little high. But my mom was like, it's the silent killer, and you need it, and this and that. She's been so programmed to just take all these weird doctor's meds or something for some reason. And the dude's like, okay, I'm going to prescribe you this. I don't know what it was, some blood pressure medication, 5 milligrams, the lowest you can go. And he was all talking like, oh, it's just 5 milligrams, you're fine, just take this every other day or so. And I'm like, all right, doc, let's say I take this every other day. What happens when the bottle runs out? You get a refill. What happens when that bottle runs out? You get a refill. What happens if I don't change my diet or anything, and then my blood pressure stays the same? I get a tolerance to these. You move up to 10 milligrams. I said, when do I stop taking these? He said, you're going to be taking them the rest of your life. Straight up said that to my face. He didn't tell me to change my diet, even after I admitted I was on high caffeine and high sodium, and that was obviously causing my blood pressure spike. He instead admitted that he wanted to get me on medication the rest of my life. Okay? And I'm like, right there I knew the problem. Right there I showed my mom, like, look at what you're saying, look what you want me to do. And so I said, alright, we'll take this medication, and then I'll take it in 2 weeks, but first, in the first 2 weeks, I'm gonna get my own thing. And I went to the vitamin shop, I got some random blood pressure supplement, and it was literally just a mix of elderberry, cayenne pepper, and a few things like that. I took that for 2 weeks, didn't have any frozen pizzas because I didn't need them, didn't have any bags of chips, and I had more water instead of like whatever I was drinking at the time, like soda and energy drinks. My blood pressure was 100% fine within just a week, and by 2 weeks it was just still floating perfectly fine. I never needed those blood pressure medications. I knew exactly what it was just my diet. But they wanted me to do that. Well, anyways, then the story gets even worse, because I went to the other advanced doctor, and he was making fun of me. He said, I see why you're in here. You don't have perfect muscle symmetry. You wanted to be a bodybuilder probably, and your muscle symmetry is a little bit off on your right tricep. Yeah, I work out a little bit too. And he flexed his triceps. I'm like, okay, he does have some kind of muscle. And then he's like, yeah, I remember the first time I didn't have perfect symmetry as a teenager. I was kind of crushed too. And I'm like, dude, are you sitting here telling me this? Do you think I'd be wasting my time coming here because I don't have perfect muscle symmetry? And he's like, you can go back to your push-ups. At the time, I was doing like intense parkour training with my workouts. And I was climbing, have you ever seen a tennis court fence? They're like 15 feet high. There was one of those next to my house. I was climbing to the top of that fence, doing handstand push-ups on the top of that fence, and doing a front handspring down to the grass below, 15 feet below. If I went back to handstand push-ups, even against a wall or on those fences, my tricep would have actually blown up. What happened, I requested an MRI, and he said, "You're wasting your money, you're wasting your time, don't get it." And I said, "Look, I'm in pain, and you're trying to deny everything I'm saying. It's getting ridiculous, so I'm just going to go ahead and get it. I want to be sure." So we got the MRI, and what happened is I tore my tricep, and there's something called an edema. I think it's called an edema. That's where you tear a muscle and water comes out of your muscle, and then the scar, it heals up and you have scar tissue below the water, and the water is stuck in between your skin and your muscle. And that scar tissue was really, really soft still. If I had gone back to handstand push-ups and bench pressing and doing, really heavy skull crushers and stuff, my tricep would have completely torn. And this guy, I had to watch him eat his words and talk about what the x-rays were showing, or the MRIs were showing and stuff. It just goes to show you, though, like, doctors really don't know a lot, and that one doctor was so egotistical, he didn't even care if I was hurt or not, and actually told me to basically go back and tear my tricep. But when you know your own body, and when you know, like high blood pressure, what causes it, things like that, you're a lot safer. You cannot always trust a doctor, but when you have knowledge, then you can know where to give leadway and where you can trust doctors and stuff. But so be careful. I hope Broku gets better. I hope he hears this, and I hope he starts taking some kratom, some go-to cola, maybe a little kava kava, and just enjoys the good life, the healthy good life, and keeps working out. To all you guys out there, keep working out. Stay strong. If you hear from the Dragon Ball stuff, hit the like button. It's gonna go Super Saiyan Blue. You got anything to say, Andrew? Last words?
I hope you guys enjoyed this conversation, and if you enjoy more conversations like these, just say so. I know I do. I listen to podcasts myself. I like listening to people's input. I get frustrated because I wish I could speak with them. So if you have that same desire, just say so. We could probably relate to a lot of people, so just say whatever you think we're missing, and you wish we could talk about. Go ahead and shoot for it, and keep improving on your lives, whether that be dietary or physical or spiritual.
Yeah, and there's a lot of other supplements out there. So if you guys are wondering if a supplement is real or fake, I've literally done every supplement, like, almost in existence. So just leave a comment below asking about it, and what's it called? And I'll tell you guys if it's good or not, if there's any human studies backing it. Yeah, so cool. Next time we'll have more stories and whatnot. Check out our other No Gym Radio #1. It was really cool. It was interview with a blind bodybuilder, and he tells his story and what got him into exercising, and it's a really inspiring one. So, alright guys, leave ideas for other podcasts, and I will see you on the flip side. See ya.